And we've got a full house for Friday's ESPN FC Live. Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Donaldson, alongside ESPN FC Liverpool reporter Beth Linda, plus Rob Dawson and Shaka Hislop. We're going to begin by talking about the transfer speculation over the past 7 days. And there's only one place to begin. That's at Liverpool. Beth, what's the latest? Trent Alexander-Arnold, nothing official yet that he's off to Real Madrid. But is it now a case of when rather than if?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a strange one, really, because actually when you sort of boil it down, there's not an awful lot that has changed over the past week. It feels like there has, because there has obviously been so much noise, but ultimately, this interest from Real Madrid and Trent Alexander-Arnold is nothing new. We know, obviously, they tried to sign him in January for about £20 million. Liverpool were never going to countenance a move. So that sort of felt like it was Real Madrid sort of marking a line in the sand and suggesting that they were going to go all in for him on a free transfer in the summer, really. But yeah, in terms of tangible things, from people I've spoken to at Liverpool, nothing tangible has happened. Obviously, conversations have been ongoing between Trent and his camp and Madrid and other clubs for, and certainly with Liverpool over a new contract for months and months and months. In terms of whether he's made his decision one way or another, I'm not sure whether that is what has changed this week. But in terms of actual tangible things, that there hasn't been too much different. But as ever with the international break, things sort of gain traction a little bit quicker than they might do at other times of the season. But it has felt inevitable for a little while, I think, that he was going to go to Real Madrid. And I suppose it now sort of is starting to feel more and more of a reality.
Yeah, all it took this week was a prominent journalist posting on social media, it's about to be done, and suddenly everyone thinks it's going to be done. Shaq, one thing I wanted to talk to you about with regards to this is not a kind of, is it going to happen? Because it will. It's an article I read in Sky Sports this week, and it says that he was the boy who lived a dream at Liverpool, but this move might taint his legacy. I totally disagree with that, because he's won everything domestically he can win at Liverpool. So this just seems like a perfect move for every single party. Although Liverpool would want to keep him, I don't think this is tainting or tarnishing any legacy at all. What do you think?
No, it's not. I think that's a very club-centric narrative, and you see that. And listen, as players, you also understand that. While fans support one club through life unlimited, it seems at times, as players, you understand that you're an asset, and to be a little bit more kind of coarse, you're a piece of meat, and you know that. And it's how you navigate that during the course of your career. As a player, you cannot get caught up in the same emotions that the fans do. You understand that it's a business, both from your perspective and from the club's perspective, and you have to do what comes best for you. Now, if the only concern was Liverpool getting a transfer fee, well, then they should have sold him last year, or sold him in the summer, or whatever it would have been for them to see that return. But you leave it to this point, well, for whatever reason, you don't come to an agreement, and now he's well within his rights to let his contract expire, to move on a free. In all honesty, I fully sympathize. Real Madrid comes calling, I don't see how you turn that call down, regardless of your current history, your current standing with your current club. Let me put it in perspective, Mark. If a random Madrid number popped up on my phone right now, I'm logging off this call. I'm gone. I'm taking it, and then we
could be Hitafe.
Well, I'm not taking that chance. Let me just say, if a Madrid number pops up, I am just leaving three of you to it. You do not turn those calls down, especially for a club like Real Madrid and they're standing in the worst game.
Okay, Rob, here's something that's it's just appeared over the past 24 to 48 hours. FIFA is introducing a mini transfer window for those teams at the Club World Cup, and it's opened from the 1st of June to the 10th of June. Trent Alexander's contract at Liverpool runs until the 30th of June. So there is a possibility that Real Madrid might want Trent for the Club World Cup, but it might mean a little bit of moving and shaking and a little bit of money paid up front for the final month. Or they might just say, no, we're keeping you until the end of your transfer contract expires at the end of the month. Do you think that this would be in Real Madrid's best interests, given Dani Carvajal's injury, to maybe do that move prior to his contract running out when this little mini window opens on the 1st of June?
I think it's certainly in FIFA's interest, because they want the best players at this first tournament. And if they were to have Trent's debut for Real Madrid at that tournament, that would be a big event, and people would want to tune into it. I also think it's probably in Liverpool's best interest, because Shaka talks there. If they decided to sell Trent a year or two ago, you're talking about gaining a significant transfer fee. At the moment, they're going to lose him on a free transfer and not get any kind of compensation for him. If there's a situation where Real Madrid say, look, we're going to sign him anyway, he's going to be our player in the summer, but we'd really like him to play for us in the Club World Cup. How about that we can give you, I don't know whether it's 5 million or 10 million euros, probably not that high, but something along those lines. Let's get him out of that contract early at Liverpool, and let's have him in our team for the Club World Cup. If you were Liverpool, obviously, if you don't have any games, beyond the end of the season, the title's already wrapped up and all that, then why would you not look at that? And again, with Real Madrid, if they're going to want their brand new star signing playing in what is for them a prestigious tournament, you can understand why it's the kind of thing that would work for all parties. I can understand though Liverpool may dig their heels. I mean, Beth has sort of talked about there that the offer that came in January, I mean, really for Real Madrid, that was mischief making, because there was no chance that they was going to go to Real Madrid midway through the season. Liverpool may turn around and go, well, actually, 5 million euros doesn't mean an awful lot to us. We're not going to let him go. If you want to sign him on a free transfer, you're more than welcome to him in the summer, but we're going to keep him as our player until June the 30th, and then you can do what you want. So I can kind of understand it from that situation as well. It's a bit of an odd one, obviously, isn't it? Because it's the first Club World Cup. FIFA are doing everything they can to kind of bend over backwards for these clubs and these players. I mean, there is a situation where, you could even have Cristiano Ronaldo, in theory, moving from Al Nassr to one of the Saudi Arabian clubs who are participating in the Club World Cup just for that tournament, and then moving back to Al Nassr. I mean, that is the kind of ridiculous situation that we're finding ourselves in with this Club World Cup. So there are any number of scenarios that could happen with this.
Beth, what's the latest with not potentially a possible replacement for Trent, because Connor Bradley, they might sign one, but you've written an article about Milos Kerkez at Bournemouth and the potential of him maybe moving to Liverpool. Now, he's a centre-back. He has played as a left-back, but he's not going to be a direct replacement. But could he be an incoming signing for Liverpool, regardless of whether or not Trent goes?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very busy summer for Liverpool. Obviously, they have those 3 players who are out of contract, Virgil van Dijk and Mo Salah as well. Even though there is a little bit more optimism that the other 2 will stay put. But, there's probably about six or seven players in the current first team squad who have question marks hanging over them, which is sort of a ridiculous thing to say when you consider Liverpool are 12 points clear at the top of the Premier League. But for one reason or another, whether it is players becoming sort of surplus to requirements or whether it's them garnering interest from elsewhere, it does feel like it's a big summer for Liverpool. I think they need a number 9. I think they probably need another centre-back. They need a left-back. They could probably do with another body in midfield as well. So it's obviously there's lots of moving parts, and I'm sure incomings will depend on outgoings. But I would say left-back is one of those positions that really, really does need to be sorted. They haven't brought anyone in there since Kostas Tsimikas in 2020, I think it was. And even he was sort of brought in as a backup and has done a fine job of that really over the past few years. But you would imagine that he would want to maybe go and play more frequently elsewhere. Andy Robertson is a tremendous player, has been fantastic for Liverpool, but is getting to the point now where he looks to be running out of legs a little bit. So yeah, there needs to be a little bit of succession planning there. And I think Kerkez, he's had a tremendous season. I'm sure we'll be attracting plenty of interest from elsewhere. But in terms of profile, price, age, that sort of thing, he sort of fits a lot of boxes that Liverpool will be looking for.
Rob, if we go down the motorway to Manchester, it's less than an hour. Let's talk about Marcus Rashford. Let's talk about Jadon Sancho. When the transfer window in the summer closes, there's obviously the scenario and the saga about Jadon Sancho and how X is going to have to pay Y to be able to get rid of him, and then they can pay that to keep him. Marcus Rashford, Mark Ogden's written a piece on ESPN FC about how he settled at at Villa, back in the England squad, despite not playing that much, certainly no 90 minutes yet with Aston Villa. When that transfer window closes, will Marcus Rashford and Jadon Sancho, or Jadon Sancho, or neither be Manchester United players, do you think?
Well, United will hope that neither are Man United players. The problem is that both of those situations are, as it stands, up in the air. I mean, the Sancho one, when United began talking to us about that last summer when he was loaned to Chelsea, it was kind of badged as a done deal. You know, he would go to Chelsea on loan for a year, then there was an obligation to buy £25 million, and that would be the end of it. He would be a Chelsea player permanently. What has happened is that Sancho hasn't done fantastically at Chelsea. I think he's done all right, but not amazingly well. And now there's this scenario where there's a kind of a penalty clause that Chelsea can pay to basically back out of that permanent deal, and they would have to pay Man United £5 million, but Jadon Sancho would go back. Now, I don't think there's much appetite from United side for that to happen. I don't think there's actually much appetite on Sancho's side either for him to go back to Manchester. Chelsea, for their part, are kind of saying, well, you know, we're not saying that we're definitely going to send him back, just saying that this is an option if we choose to kind of exercise it. Now, it would be a nightmare scenario, really, for United to have Jadon Sancho back. I don't think that's an underestimation, really. Their entire summer plans depends on getting players out, and that's Sancho and also Marcus Rashford. The Rashford one is a little more complicated because there is an option there for Aston Villa to make that deal permanent at 40 million. I think on the face of it, for someone of Rashford's talent, that is a decent deal. But the problem is his wages. He is on astronomical wages at Man United. And there's already a scenario where United are paying him effectively a portion of his wage to play for Aston Villa. Now, he's done okay at Villa. I think he's made an impact, obviously made enough of an impact to get back in the England squad. The question, though, is whether Aston Villa can pay him £375,000 or £400,000 a week, because that absolutely destroys their wage structure and affects, Xhaka will be able to tell you, will affect the rest of the dressing room. And other players will start knocking on the door saying, I want this. Why is he on that? And it just opens up a can of worms. Beyond that, it relies on Marcus Rashford then saying, well, I'll take a pay cut. You know, I was on this great contract at Man United, but I want to go and play. I want to have a new chapter. I'm going to go and do it at Villa. I'm happy to take maybe a 50 grand a week or 100 grand a week pay cut. Now, he didn't show an appetite for that in January, and that's why Man United is still paying wages. So it depends whether his mood has kind of shifted over the summer. Again, like the Sancho thing, the Rashford situation is up in the air, and that is a problem for Man United, because I said at the start of this, their entire transfer plan for the summer depends on effectively getting players out really, really quickly, so they boost their budget in terms of wages and transfer fees to invest it in the squad elsewhere. If they're stuck in a situation where they've still got Sancho, Rashford and Anthony, say, towards the last week of this transfer window, that is a major, major problem for Man United and will affect what they can do in terms of incomings. They need those players out very, very quickly and very, very efficiently.
Another player that's been in the headlines a little bit this week is Antoine Griezmann, Xhaka, Atletico Madrid. Now, back in July, Football Americas with Herculez Gomez, he said, look, this could be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for him to move to Los Angeles and join MLS. Now, that was basically not a done deal, but it was, it's when, not if. But things have changed a little bit with Atletico Madrid, and he's had a really good season again. He's just turned 34 last week. So the latest from our ESPN colleagues in Spain are that Atleti don't want to lose him to Major League Soccer and are prepared to offer him a contract extension. Could this just be a case of delaying the inevitable and Atleti getting him for another year or two, maybe at this level, before he comes over to California? Or what do you see from what you've heard this week?
Listen, if I'm representing Antoine Griezmann for part of his camp, I'm saying stay in Europe, and he's certainly a settler at Atletico Madrid. Let that run for as long as you possibly can. Major League Soccer will always be there, and the one thing we've seen during the history of Major League Soccer is strikers come over, regardless almost of where they are in their careers, and find a footing in Major League Soccer. You saw with Wayne Rooney, with Ibrahimovic, with so many other attacking players. Where older players tend to struggle is more in midfield, Steven Gerrard, or even defense, players coming over later on in their respective careers. So I don't see Major League Soccer moving past Antoine Griezmann anytime soon. As long as he continues to contribute at this level for Antoine Griezmann, I still think he's an important piece of that puzzle. You keep him for as long as you possibly can. As I say, the MLS window, not to kind of piggyback on the old transfer window, but the MLS window is going to be there for Antoine Griezmann for a few more years. Yeah.